she wants a black man. That's all she goes for, black men.
Yeah.
And there's this girl that she used to watch on a TV show who was obviously black. She was like, oh, I wish I was her. I'm thinking, what?
Jesus Christ.
She kept on saying, oh, I wish I was black. I wish I was black. I'm thinking,
Jesus Christ.
What?
For starters, if you was black, you wouldn't be getting any black men. So I'm just saying.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chloe, and I know there's a little bit of a delay when it comes to me making this video, but I wanted to share my views on the Schxts and Gigs scandal, how this links to wider conversations around self-hate and misogynoir within the black community, and then a little bit on why Andrew Schulz should not be let off the hook. People like James and Fuhad, the way that they are so comfortable hearing white men talk about black women in this way, it shows you that they want to become as close to whiteness as possible, which for them is to be as, or like almost like imitating white men. And we see this in terms of like vehicle in who they pursue through dating as well, who they feel more comfortable with. There has been, since this event, several videos of James and Fuhad that have been questionable, but also show that they're not comfortable with who they are and how this shapes how they treat black people, other black people, black women. That now brings me on to their terrible apology. I did not get the sense that both of them actually care or are actually apologetic, but rather they are upset that this situation escalated in the way that it did. And I feel that the damage is done. And as a black woman, it's just extremely tiring. There has been that other podcast, what is it called? Under the Influence podcast. There's so many platforms which are just pushing toxicity that are problematic as hell, and they're getting away with it. But like, sometimes I just feel baffled. I don't have the words. James and Fuhad, you are hereby excommunicated from the black community. That is what I thought about with this situation. And when I actually say that, it's interesting because did they ever really see themselves as a part of the black community? There's a conversation there for sure. And when they were talking about the whole fight or flight and that they should have kicked the camera down, it just sounded very performative, and that's not how you were in the moment. I can understand if you're shocked, right? But that's not what it was. You looked okay with it. And then there's also other videos where it's clear that you don't like black women. The Poor Minds podcast, insert clip here.
In Atlanta, I've seen the least baddest so far.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God we ain't from here.
I'm a Texas girl. You ain't offending me none.
You see, they ain't say Houston.
We've still got a couple days. Maybe we'll find out. But yeah. I've seen like 2 or 3.
Hey, but what is y'all's type though?
Bad is the type.
So do you really want black women to feel protected by you, or is this just something where you know that you need to say something in order to get your audience back? And that then brings me to how Andrew Schulz responded to the controversy. And essentially he was just laughing at them. He was just doing his usual thing of like this trend in comedy that is very anti-PC, which is basically just anti-black. This whole critical justice theory, critical race theory, anti-critical race theory. Everybody's just woke and sensitive, and everybody can get attacked, everybody can get dragged. But is that really true comedy? He's effectively just walked away unscathed. I don't really feel that this situation impacted him in the way that it should have. And should we really be surprised when he's in community with other black men like Charlemagne the God, who do not care about what he said about black women, who still are sort of collaborating, making money with him. Even in that video itself, there was another black comedian that is sitting with him on the sofa. They're okay. And I made a note of some of the things that he said, and He said on his podcast that there's no way he's going to apologize. He won't apologize for jokes. And he mocked their apology in summary. Anyway, that black guy on there was sitting and giggling. I think that black men need to have a conference and come together, because there seems to be some pattern here. And I think also a lot of non-black creators know that they can profit from black outrage, and Jackie Aina was having this conversation recently in terms of the makeup industry and how they use marketing to build an audience off of being exclusionary brands. And I do think in this comedy world there are men, particularly white men, who frame themselves as a sort of like crusader that is bringing real comedy back, where we can just say anything and there's no consequences. So it's not necessarily just Andrew Schulz, but I did think he should not get away with this. He should be called out point blank, end of. So in summary, I think that time after time, as black women, we have seen that there is a social currency in mocking us, and unfortunately there are black men in the world who create a space where people of other races feel comfortable making these comments. And from a British perspective as well, the anti-blackness that some black British men have, dark-skinned black women especially have shared their experiences around this, particularly if you think about the term UK beast, if you think of creators like Antho's Corner and how she is constantly bullied on TikTok and other platforms. Overall, in terms of Andrew Schulz, I don't think that he should be able to walk away freely without any consequence. But it's a real life example of how white men benefit from racism, from sexism, and he is in this comedy space where he is the hero. He is badass for not succumbing to the woke mob, to the woke police, which is essentially the black community. He can grow and skyrocket from black outrage. And I'm not saying that James and Fuhad should be able to walk away unscathed either. I think all of them should be impacted. Do you get what I'm saying? And I just think that that is worth mentioning. And Charlemagne the God, who he associates with, has also had a long history of misogynoir, and though he tries to disassociate himself from that history now, I always think of Little Mama, I always think of Amara La Negra, I always think of Jocelyn, because all of this behaviour towards black women does not operate in a vacuum. It links to the discrimination, the violence, the bullying, the harassment that we face on a day-to-day basis. So that's one of the things that I try to do on this channel, is just say it how it is and call that out, because I have a voice and I'm going to use it point blank. And I don't envision a time when I'm not going to be doing that. So I hope that moving forward, people can be better to black women, because we deserve better. Anyway, let me know what you think of the Shxts and Gigs James and Fuhad situation. I know that this is slightly an old topic, but I definitely wanted to give my couple of cents on this. Yep. Like, comment, and subscribe.